service, which needs to conform to this standardization, hence the importance of this session. To start us off, I want to request the acting CEO, Madam Celestine, to give her opening remarks and grace this occasion. If she can hear me, Madam Celestine.
I can hear you, Ruben. Thank
Awesome.
you so much. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning to you.
Good morning.
morning.
Thank you for joining this webinar. I'm giving the opening remarks on behalf of our CEO, who is away on official duty. We really appreciate you for coming and being here on time, because I can see it's 10:10 and that is 10:09 and we are starting on time. So thank you so much, everyone. KEPROBA implements the Export Readiness Awareness Program that provides a platform for coordinated approach in export capacity building initiatives in conjunction with the government, development partners, and trade support institutions. The objective of this Export Readiness Awareness Program is to provide high-quality, globally competitive export trade training to enable the business community to venture into international trade. So we hope that by the end of this webinar, you'll be able to understand all that is, to have all the necessary knowledge on entering into the international trade. This program aims to augment the agency's efforts to serve and enhance the competitiveness of enterprises by equipping them with relevant information and skills to facilitate them to navigate the ever-changing international trade arena with ease. I'm delighted to inform you today that we have partnered with Kenya Bureau of Standards, who are in the meeting already, who will be training us on standards and certifications for Kenyan products in regional markets. We really appreciate KEBS facilitators for offering the capacity building to potential and existing exporters in Kenya. We look forward to having a very successful webinar. For the participants, we say thank you so much for joining the webinar. KEPROBA commits to uphold you to become advanced exporters and to increase the country's exports worldwide. I therefore declare the webinar officially open and we look forward to successful engagements. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Madam Celestine. Representing our CEO, it is Madam Celestine Rono, our Director in charge of corporate services. Next is our very good partner, KEBS, to give the opening remarks. And this is Dr. Geoffrey Murira, who is the Director for Quality Assurance and Inspection at the Kenya at the KEBS. Kindly, Daktari, if you can hear us, welcome to give your opening remarks before we get started in the main agenda.
Thank you, participants, and thank you, team. Dr. Murila is joining in a moment. He's having some challenges, but we are sorting it.
All right. As he joins, very importantly, ladies and gentlemen, that as the CEO has said, this is part of what we do at the Kenya Export Promotion and Branding Agency to equip the exporters with the tools, with the skills, with the know-how that is required. For example, in this particular regard of standardization, this is about quality. And each one of us needs to conform and needs to be aware about the requirements for each product. As it were, there are so many sectors that we are all dealing in. And as KEBS will let us know that they have developed standards for each product, which are therefore required not just here in Kenya, but also in the international market. So if you are doing whichever product you are doing and you have not contacted KEBS so that you know that you're in conformance with the required standards, then there's something that you want to quickly fix because the product needs to conform for the safety of the users. And of course, it's a legal requirement that your product is in conformance. So the beauty about all this is that the product, when it's accepted regionally, when it's accepted in Kenya, then those standards are what is also recognized outside. So that will help you to enter the regional market pretty well. So this is just one of those areas that we are now doing the capacity building. And at the Kenya Export Promotion and Branding Agency, we have 10 modules that we take exporters through to get them ready to export or to just help them to meet their requirements in exporting, starting all the way from how you produce, how you do your documentation, how to do your costing, how to do your pricing so that you're competitive, how do you do your logistics, moving your product from where you are to where the customer is, what documents you generate from when you start your journey up to when you get paid. So all that is part of what how we train our exporters, both potential and existing exporters. So Charles, you are saying something?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much, Ruben. The director is ready. He'll speak to, yeah. So
good.
Welcome in.
Good. Santi. So
Okay,
we had the opening remarks from our CEO on this end. So we now get the opening remarks from the director in charge of quality assurance and inspection at KEBS, Dr. Geoffrey. Karibu sana.
Thank you, Wanjala. And I want to observe the protocol that has been established before. Thank you for inviting us in this meeting. It's quite a great honor for us to address this team on a matter that is vital to consumer protection, promotion of fair trade, industrial growth, and the role of product certification in controlling locally manufactured and also important goods. At KEBS, our mandate includes standardization. And in standardization, I want to make it clear that we develop standards for products, for processes, for designs, for practices, and even for services. We develop them from the scratch. We adopt standards from, international organizations like ISO, that is the International Organization for Standardization. Also, that's Africa Organization for Standardization. They could be also East African standards. And when we are adapting, we can also adopt where we modify the standards to suit our realities. So any product that you can think of, whether it has a standard or not, if you want it to address your product, that can be developed at Kenya Bureau of Standards. The process of standardization can be initiated by anybody. It can be initiated by manufacturers, by exporters like you, by entrepreneurs like you, all of us. There is an open platform at Kenya Bureau of Standards that can do that. The other mandate is metrology. In metrology, we are the custodian of the international systems of measurement, the SI unit, if you remember very well, the 7 base units, which are very important in underpinning our economy. In every economy, these are very important. Why are they important? Because When we talk of a kilogram, when we talk of a second in terms of time, we can really be talking of different things if there is no reference value, a primary value. So KEBS is involved in metrology, which is defined as science of measurement and its related applications. And in this regard, for your equipment that you use in your manufacturing facility, for any quantities that you want to determine for them to be accurate, we undertake calibration for both industry equipment and even measuring equipment. So that is under metrology. Then we offer other services that we call conformity assessment. In the conformity assessment spectrum, we have quality assurance. Quality assurance is a product certification like the one that I'm talking about, whereby products are certified according to their standards, and our procedures are anchored on the best international practice, that is ISO 17065. In the whole of Africa, we are the only bureau with such a wide scope, very wide scope, addressing very many products in accreditation to ISO 17065. Now, when these products are certified, they are issued with a mandatory mark, the standardization mark, which is legally a must for any product manufactured in Kenya. The beauty of the standardization mark is that it is a notified mark in the East African community. And I know my team will be available. You can ask many questions to understand how this works. When I say it's a notified mark under SQMT, I mean that product with the standardization mark have unhindered access to the 270 million people in East Africa community, all the countries. In fact, what happens is that when you want to move your good to any partner states in the East Africa community, they are just called transfer of goods. It's not trained across the border because we've harmonized quite a number of standards, we've harmonized our procedures, and our standardization mark is recognized. Then the other thing is about, the other mark is Diamond Mark of Quality, which is a voluntary mark that is over and above the standardization mark. It is awarded to products that have met and surpassed the requirement of the standard. But just by definition from the standard establishes the minimum requirements that guarantees safety, that guarantees performance, that also ensures the consumer is protected. But as a manufacturer who wants to position his or a product to be a superior product, you can exceed what the standard has prescribed and now get the diamond mark. That one we offer. Then there is another mark that is called import standardization mark. This mark is also issued for all the imports. It can be issued for the import through inspection from their countries of supply or to the imports on their arrival in the country. So I have basically explained about quality assurance as one of the activities and conformity assessment. The other activity that I've also mentioned is quality inspection, whereby imports are subjected to quality checks against the relevant standards, and they are issued with the certificate of conformity. Of importance is to know that the same standards that controls the locally manufactured products are the same standards the importer are subjected to. And the reason is that we want to establish a level playing ground such that the local industries are not disadvantaged by allowing imports into the country. The other activity under conformity assessment is testing. So various products are subjected to testing against the standards, and this one is to assess whether they meet various requirements. Basically, those are some of the activities and conformity assessment. Then the other activity is market surveillance. Once these products are released in the market, may they be import or locally manufactured, we follow them there. We do surveillance at the factory level, and we do surveillance at the factory level. And the reason is to ensure that the consumer is protected and to ensure that there is continued compliance with the requirement of the standards. So that is very important part of conformity assessment. And in all these processes, they are accredited. For product certification, as I said earlier, it's accredited to ISO 17065. For imports, they are accredited to ISO 17020. For testing, it's accredited to ISO 17025. These are very important systems that ensures that our processes, our products are above board and they are anchored in the best international practices. I think I've summarized basically what we do. Of course, we have a certification body within KEBS where we certify systems. We can certify your facility to food safety management system, ISO 22000. And this one also will allow you access international markets without any issues, especially as food safety matters are concerned. We also do environmental management system certification, among many others, also quality management system, ISO 9001. And then we also offer training through our National Quality Institute on quality and standards related matter. Now, when you look at the export market, the world has become a global community. We want to approximate the requirements of those export markets. There are those markets where we have like bilateral arrangements where we've agreed that we can harmonize the standards. Those one will recognize our certification schemes. There are others that we've not established that agreement, but again, the overarching, desire or need is that any product that is going to those markets is subjected to a standard. And a standard will just prescribe specifications that are expected to be met by the product. And then this one is followed by by testing. And then when you undertake testing, you demonstrate that the product meets the prescribed requirement, then there should be no issue in relation to the market access. The other thing that we do in KEBS is we do research and development. We can work with you, help you, develop your products. We incubate you, offer incubation services, working with you in development of your product so that it can access international markets. So basically, those are the activities that we do in KEBS. And what I want to emphasize is that the standards will always form a common language that will be spoken everywhere when it comes, when we talk about any product, when we talk about any services. So as a KIPROBA, as the stakeholders, it is important that you understand what are standards, how you can comply with their requirements, and how you can work with the KEBS to ensure that you entrench the culture of quality and compliance in as far as your products are concerned. So those are my remarks, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. for the opening remarks, which have painted really the mandate of KEBS as a partner, and very importantly, the services that are very key in exports, with particular reference to standardization mark, which, as you have amply said, it is not just a local requirement, but it's also internationally recognized because you subscribe to the international requirements. Thank you so much. So we now move quickly to just understanding in a nutshell what KIPROBA does as we contextualize this training. So I want to invite Charles Tumbo, who is in charge of training as capacity building here at the Kenya Export Promotion and Branding Agency. Take 2 or 3 minutes just to paint for us what we do and contextualize this training, and we'll get moving. Charles, over to you.
Thank you very much. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yes, thank you very much. So, my good friends, my name is Charles Tumbo from the Kenya Export Promotion and Branding Agency. Just a minute to see me. Yeah. So, my name is Charles Tumbo from the Kenya Export Promotion and Branding Agency. And this is a state corporation under the Ministry of Investment, Trade, and Industry. So, as KEBS has also spoken, they are also a parastatal under the State Department of Industry. So the way it operates, we have those three state departments. And for us, Kenya Export Promotion and Branding Agency, we were established in August 9, 2019 after the merger of two parastatals. I believe you can remember Brand Kenya Board and Export Promotion Council. So these two parastatals merged to form the Kenya Export Promotion and Branding Agency. And our mandate is to implement export promotion and nation building initiatives and policies to promote Kenya's exports. And what we really want to do is to transform Kenya into a global, top global brand. And our mission is to brand Kenya, export Kenya, and build Kenya. So ladies and gentlemen, the next thing, our services is to provide various areas where you can increase your exports. First is to provide market intelligence. Market intelligence is that we undertake market research. As we speak right now, we are undertaking a market research in Japan. And when we undertake this market research, whatever we gather here, we come and disseminate it so that you can know how to conform to that market. Yes, we work with the KEBS and other institutions on product development, where we come up with products that meet the trends, the preferences of the world. So we work closely on product development. And then also it's very important to engage in advocacy and trade policy facilitation. Just as we speak right now, our CEO is in Tanzania, where they're attending a Kenya-Tanzania bilateral, and quite a number of issues are discussed there so that we are able to move forward. Then very, very important is to provide export information. And that is where we sit. We sit at University Towers first floor, where we have a center that provides trade information. That is very, very key for that. Then, of course, we undertake international trade events. Like right now, we are running the Expo Osaka in Japan. The other team is right now in Ghana. The other team also was in Algiers. And we promote and we ask you to participate in our trade promotion activities. Of course, our job is to brand Kenya, make it Kenya, grow Kenya, authentically Kenya, and proudly Kenya. And we also have our mark of identity so that we can give a positive image of Kenya so that our products can access these markets competitively. So I'll just give you a snapshot of Kenya's exports performance. Exports have been growing. They have been growing, and you can see, although the imports are there, so they've risen from something wrong on my screen. So the exports have been growing, and you can see as they have been growing over the years, also imports are really hitting us very much. And the essence of this seminar and this webinar is to guide you and to ask you, let us increase Kenya's exports. Yeah, so that we can increase. In the year 2024, we were at $8.26 billion, but we want to grow our exports and we'll work together with you. So what does Kenya export, ladies and gentlemen? Kenya exports tea, of course, cut flowers, coffee, medicaments, cement, meat, babatis, and this is the data that we have. And if you want in-depth data, you can always consult us so that we can provide you. So where do we export to? Our friends, our first export destination is Uganda. We love Uganda because Uganda buys manufactured products, right? value-added manufactured products, which are certified, which are standardized. And director really told us in his opening remarks that they are harmonized. It is just like moving goods from Kayole to Embakasi. So Uganda, very interesting market. Tanzania, Rwanda, DRC, Congo, these are countries that buy our manufactured products. And when we export manufactured products, my good friends, we are creating employment and also innovations. So that is a snapshot of where Kenya exports their products. Then, my good friends, always contact us if you require any information. We are at Anniversary Towers, first floor, or you can send us an email so that we can guide you appropriately. We thank you because of KEBS coming on board, because they are assisting us disseminate information, export information, and we are glad that you'll be here with us today. So thank you very much, and hand over to you, our dear moderator. Asante.
Thanks, Charles. Awesome. In a nutshell, that is the Kenya Export Promotion and Branding Agency. Indeed, the list that Charles has shown about what we export is just a subset. As a country, we export almost everything that is exportable. I'm saying everything exportable so that whatever you have, you look at how can you now sell to any person outside of Kenya. And that is what is exporting. Selling product or a service to a non-Kenyan, including those who are within Kenya. For example, if you are you're in a service industry and you serve a person who is not Kenyan because he's visiting, that is an export of a service. So if you are interested in knowing the nitty-gritty of your very specific products, please contact us. Those contacts are still available. If you can go online or makeitkenya.go.ke, you'll see our contacts. We shall guide you on very specific markets for the products that you are dealing in. Without much ado, I now want to welcome our team from KEBS. This will be Benson Bundi, and Mildred Eboy, and Peter Ward, who shall be taking us through certain topics that we have discussed. And we want to just welcome Benson Bundi, if you are ready, Benson, to take it over. Santesa.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ruben, and thank you, participants, for attending this training session in a big number. From KEBS, we welcome you, and for this training, so that you are aware of the standards that exist, the role of KEBS in trade facilitation. So, with all protocols observed, allow me to share my presentation.
Yeah, thanks. As you go on to just have the presentation on, I want to encourage members that we have a Q&A section of this Zoom session, question and answer. So feel free to put any questions there, and we shall be glad to have answers to the same. I can see a few inquiries coming through. Don't put them on the chat, because they can be forgotten. When they're in the question and answer session, they are easy to follow, because when it is answered, you can tell which one has been answered. So over to you, Benson.
Yes, before, Ruben, can you confirm that you can see my screen?
Yes, please.
Thank you very much. So my name is Benson Bundi, and at KEBS, I'm the manager PVOC. As we go through the training, you'll understand what PVOC stands for. KEBS is the national standard body in Kenya, established through the Standard Act. We are quite old. We were established in 1874 with the sole mandate of trade facilitation. And as Charles explained, we are under the same Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment. So we share the same ministry. We report to the same ministry with Keproba. And our director, Dr. Mulira, explained our mandate in depth. But these are the services that we offer, standardization services, and that is the development and harmonization of standards, standard to do with the measurement. We are the primary custodian of measurement units in Kenya. So if you want to trace your measurement to the international standards, you come to KEBS. So KEBS stores the primary units of measurement. That is the units for time, length, mass. The primary standards are stored in KEBS and traceable to the international systems. Then we offer technical support during multilateral and bilateral trade agreements. That is on standardization services. On conformity assessment, we have quite a number of services that we offer. We do import inspection and export inspection. We carry out market surveillance. And I have a colleague who will speak in length about quality assurance, and that is inspection and certification of locally manufactured products. Then we also offer product and system certification. And we have well-established laboratories, testing facilities, and calibration services. If you want to calibrate your measurement equipment to the primary standards, then you come to KEBS so that you can have the working standards in your industry. We also offer facilitation of trade through development of standards, and our standards are adopted from the international standards. So we are members of ISO and IEC. These are international bodies that develop standards. We are also the national contact point for WTO. So any issue to do with the World Trade Organization and TBT issue, so you make reference to KEBS, or you can contact KEBS for that information of any issues that is affecting the world trade. So you have a desk that, an office that their work is to deal on those issues. Then we have a National Quality Institute, and I will encourage members, participants to go to our website and look at our calendar for training. So we have a training facility that offers training services on issues to do with quality. That is our mission and vision and our motto. So we intend to be a global leader in the standard-based solution for trade and sustainable development. And actually, we are living to this mission. The current chair for conformity assessment program in ISO is from KEBS. And we also sit one of our director, that is Dr. Okorito, that is Engineer Okorito, sits in the ISO General Council. So you can see we are living toward that vision of being a global leader. A mission, of course, is to provide those services so that we safeguard our consumer in Kenya and as well as facilitating trade. And we know that trade is what make a country progress. So our motto is standard for quality life. So let's understand more about the standards. What are standards? A standard is a document established through consensus, through agreement amongst the stakeholders, and approved by a recognized body. In Kenya, this will be Kenya Bureau of Standards. For common and repeated use, rules, guidelines, or characteristics for products and services and related processes or production method aimed at achievement of optimum degree of order in a given industry or in a given context. The main aim of developing standard is to facilitate trade and protect the consumers from unsafe products in terms of the safety and also health. And of course, protect the environment. So for that, then we have advantages of standards. And the standard is standards as agents for trade and economic growth. In this way, they support market access, so ensures that the product are accepted within the given market. If your product are certified to East African standard, you have access to the 7 East African country members that belongs to Eastern African community. Consumer trust, that's another advantage. So standard ensures product credibility. And of course, that is brings more of consumer confidence. Ensure the product safety, cost reduction, because you utilize economy of scales, of course, with less errors and wastage. You have a competitive edge in the market. And of course, it gives a means of reference when doing research and reporting on those research. So I've dealt on the mandate of KEBS. Let me now speak more specifically on what I do on day-to-day business. And as I explained, and as our director explained before, after development of standard, we have enforcement department, and I belong to the quality assurance and inspection. So that has 2 departments, and the Department of Enforcing Standard of Locally Manufactured Goods, and a Department of Enforcing Standard for Imported Products. So myself, I belong to the Department of Enforcing Standard for Imported Products. So inspection of imported product is provided under the Standard Act, that is Cap 496, and supporting registration. We have a recent one of 2020, and amendment was done in the same year, creating for product registration and inspection of consolidated goods. So the inspection of imported product has 2 regimes. One is the PVOC. Now I explain what is PVOC. This is a conformity assessment and certification program for imported goods at the country of supply. So inspection of goods at the country of supply. So by the time the shipment is done, the conformity to standard of those goods have already been determined. And then we have another regime of destination inspection. And this is when determination of conformity to standard is done at the port of entry. The Kenyan government has, of the recent years, tried to encourage destination inspection, and we are encouraging destination inspection using these two schemes. That is product registration. So if you intend to import some product from any country in the world, you register those products with KEBS, and that will facilitate destination inspection. And we also offer another scheme called Diamond Mark, where our inspectors go to the manufacturing farms in the country of supply and certify those farms so that products coming from those farms come with a Diamond Mark and they're accepted here in Kenya. And those are the two processes. The detail of the two processes, the product registration is valid for 1 year, and those are the fees to pay. And the goods are subjected to destination inspection and are exempted from the requirement of pre-export verification of conformity. Then we have the Diamond Mark. It's valid for 4 years, and the fees applicable is $4,000. And then the applicant has to meet the requirement of traveling cost of the inspectors. And the goods, once issued the Diamond Mark, are exempted from the PVOC program. So that is about destination inspection. Then the other regime, as I explained, is a PVOC program. And as I explained, is a program where inspection of goods is done at the country of supply. This is done by third-party accredited inspection companies, by KEBS. And for this program, we have divided the world into 17 zones, depending on their proximity and trade volume. These are the appointed, currently, these are the appointed inspection companies. We have 5 of them for general goods, including China Hanson, and inspection and certification company. We have China certification and inspection company. We have TUV, Austria. We have SGS. We have World Standardization Certification and Testing Group. Those are for general goods. Then we have for motor vehicles, from our key supply of used motor vehicles, that is Japan, UK, Thailand, and UAE. So we have an inspection company called Quality Inspection Services Japan. So inspection is done at the country of supply. So by the time shipment is done, the goods are issued with a certificate of conformity, and they are free to be imported into Kenya. So the main objective is to protect consumers from harmful products, facilitate trade and clearance of goods at the ports, and block imported substandard and counterfeit product at the source. So once inspection is done and goods are found not to conform to the requirement of the Kenya standards and other applicable regulations, the goods are stopped at the country of supply before they are shipped. So additional objective of this program is to offer a faster clearance process by reducing the turnaround time of clearance at the ports and safeguard the country from unfair trading practices. And this is a process of certification of this through this program. The first is submission of requests, and this is done by the exporter in collaboration with the importer here in Kenya by providing the document for requesting for certification. Then payment of the inspection fee, that is done by the exporter. Once those two actions are done, then the inspection company schedule for inspection and testing of the product. If the goods conform to the Kenyan standard, they issue a COC. If they don't, then they issue a non-conformity report. So you get to know the performance of your product earlier, even before shipment. So many of the documents that are required in this process is a unique consignment reference number. And this is issued well in advance by a system we call single window system. And the single window system is operated by Kentrade. These are a parastatal or a department within the Ministry of Finance. So we have a single window system whereby all government agencies are able to access or are able to do their processes using a platform, one platform. So once the importer applies, is given a unique reference number. So you need to forward that information to your exporter so that they are aware before they submit the request for inspection. Then pro forma invoice. This is the invoice between you, the importer here in Kenya, and the exporter. The packing lists of the consignment. Then import declaration form. And we are emphasizing that this has to be approved. Import declaration form is the license to import here in Kenya. And this is offered, is issued by the Kenya Revenue Authority. So, and it has to be approved because at that point is when, if there is any other interest by any other government agency, this is where they express their interest by once you apply for the IDF. Then these are technical documents that are required in inspection of the goods. And those are technical specification of the product, operational manual, test report. And test report has to be from a recognized laboratory. I'll explain about the recognition of laboratories in my subsequent presentation. So the applicable standard in this program, first, that is the hierarchy of the standards. We start with the Kenya standard or East African standard. All harmonized East African standard by default becomes Kenya standards. So that is the first standard that is applied in this program. Then if there is no East African standard or harmonized East African standard, then they use international standard. If there is no international standard, if the product does not have an international standard, then we use national standard of the country where these goods are being manufactured, and the manufacturer's specification become the list of the standard that can be used in absence of the above category of standards. I mentioned about recognition of lab. So the testing has to be done in any of these laboratory. That is a laboratory accredited through 17025 or the PVOC contractors laboratory or a government laboratory. It also offers flexibility of certification routes depending on the risk of the product. If a product is of a high risk, then it goes through a route we call it A, whereby the product has to be physically inspected and the test report presented for that particular batch that is being shipped to Kenya. Then after some times, if you are a frequent importer in Kenya, you can register that product with a PVOC inspection company. And with that, then you'll use that route to import into Kenya. And then for importers with or exporters with established manufacturing facility, and that follows a particular recognized systems internationally, then you can have the farm license for importation into Kenya. Those are the fees that are applicable in this program for different routes. However, these fees do not include laboratory testing, manufacturer licensing, and registration. Now, the legal notice under which we operate or that has established import inspection has given exemption. And this one I want to be very clear to the participant that if you are a manufacturer in Kenya, you are exempted. The first category of exemption from the PVOC program is your raw material, machineries, and spares for your own use. So you don't have to undergo the process of inspection of those goods, of those importation. The law exempt you from inspection. So you are free to ship those raw materials, the machineries, and spare parts that you use in your production facility. This is well explained in our PVOC manual that is shared in our website. So I will encourage our viewers, our participants, to familiarize themselves with the KEBS processes and the legal notice through our website. That is www.kebs.org. It's we have all what I've explained and much more about KEBS, the importation process, and the exemptions that are provided through the legal notice. And we keep on reviewing these documents and that are found in our website, so that we keep them updated as per the current processes. And for that, I thank you, participants, for participating in this training. And back to you, Ruben.
Thank you so much, Wana Benson. We have appreciated what KEBS does, and very importantly, the importance of certification and how it applies to other countries. One of the key things you've seen is that for example, in Japan, products that are coming to Kenya are certified by the equivalent of KEBS there. And when they come, they are recognized as such. Meaning, if Japanese people are exporting products to Kenya, they must comply with the standards there. So now that we are talking about exports, it is the reverse, that for you to access whichever market, you must comply with certification standards. Thank you so much, Benson, for that. The next person is Mildred Boy, who shall be talking about now the product certification itself. So Mildred, when you are ready, can take the floor. Mildred? Thank you. And then your mic is still off if you are speaking.
Good morning.
Morning, a little bit faint, Mildred.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Still faint. Maybe you can position the microphone a little bit close.
Okay.
Ah, there you go. There you
That's
go.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can
So
put the presentation into
Okay.
presentation mode. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Mildred Deboy from Quality Assurance Department, the MSME Services Division. I work in the same directorate with my colleague, Mr. Benson Budi, who is in the inspection department. So product certification is what we handle at Quality Assurance. And according to the Standards Act, Cap 496, Section 10, it's a requirement that all locally manufactured products sold in Kenya must bear the KEB standardization mark. And like my director had indicated earlier, our product certification department is accredited to ISO IEC 17065, which is an international standard on conformity assessment. So what is product certification? It's a third-party attestation giving confidence to consumers on quality and safety. Simply means that products need to meet requirements of the certification scheme, which is with reference to the product standards. Mr. Benson Bundi mentioned product standards, where we have different levels of standards, and the highest is at the national level, where we adopt standards either from regional harmonization, that is East Africa Community, or ARSO, where now we are moving forward to have harmonized standards across the African continent to facilitate trade across our borders. So this is our standardization mark, which is the mandatory mark for locally manufactured products, and it is issued and valid for 2 years. Another mark is the food fortification logo. This is unique and specific for wheat and maize flour and edible fats and oils. This is through Ministry of Health legal notice, where it was declared that these 3 sets of commodities shall be fortified with specific micronutrients to address micronutrient deficiency within our country. The permit is also valid for 2 years. The diamond mark of quality is a superior mark of quality to the standardization mark. It's a voluntary mark, which is usually sought by clients who have exceeded expectations in terms of product certification requirements. And the key aspect is that they are already implementing management systems within their organizations. So this allows us to vet the client against criteria relevant to management system operating organizations, and they get to have the diamond mark, which is valid for 4 years. Another advantage of the diamond mark of quality is that once you are issued with this diamond mark of quality, you automatically qualify to get the standardization mark without any other charges. So what are the benefits of product certification? The first benefit is confidence for the following parties: consumers, regulators, and industry. This simply means that when a consumer is buying a commodity, when they see the standardization mark, they are confident that this product was taken through a set of criteria checks and has been found to be fit for function and for use. The other aspect is at industry level, we have different sectors, and in these sectors we have many players. So it allows for confidence of these players, manufacturers, to access the markets. As long as their products have been certified against a specific standard, then they are able to access the market. Another benefit is fair trade practices and competition. This simply means when we have certified toilet tissue, for example, it means anyone who manufactures this product and has a certification mark for the toilet tissue, then they're able to access the market because they're all producing products of the same quality, and it allows for fair competition. Consumer acceptance of Kenyan products at national, regional, and international level, like what has been mentioned by my previous presenters. Mr. Charles Tumbo talks of when we are exporting our products, what are the consumers looking for? Is this product certified from its country of origin? Mr. Bundi also talked about expectations of consumers. They want to see that this product has been taken through a certain set of evaluation. So we have national, that is at Kenya level. Regional, we have EAC. We also have Africa Free Continental Trade Area, that is the entire African continent, and international levels where we have other continents where our products can be exported to. It also raises efficiency and level of quality of products. Through the product certification process, you are made aware of certain criteria that you need to fulfill as you continue to manufacture, so that it also improves your manufacturing processes and accountability of what you're leaving from your premises. It also raises level of product quality awareness. This means those who venture into these industries for the various commodities, they get to know what are the expectations of their products. For example, for flour, you get to know what is the acceptable moisture content and why the moisture content is important to ensure that the shelf life of the product and microbial activity is not sped up by poor moisture levels. It also reduces incidences of substandard products. Substandard simply means a product that has not met expected requirements. So when we have a big number of manufacturers in the industry complying with the requirements of the standard, then that simply kicks out the substandard products and ensures that the consumers get value for money. Lastly, responsibility of product quality remains with the manufacturer. This simply means, although KEBS proceeds to give you a certification mark, you are still obligated to ensure the quality of the product is maintained throughout the certification period at any given time. So these are the steps for product certification. The first stage is application, where we expect you to have registered your company, have a business or company registration, and then also KRA PIN. And currently we have an online system called KIMS, where you are able to access it, sign up, and with those two documents, you're able to create an account for your company and proceed to make the applications. Once the application has been submitted by yourself, the second stage is evaluation, where the application is reviewed on our side by the various levels of authority. And at a point, you will be contacted for inspection by our officer, who will come to your premises and inspect your premises against a standard, either code of practice for that specific sector, and also basic requirements for manufacturing premise. Lastly, we also have a scheme of supervision, which is a document that the officer will discuss with you as you prepare it with them in terms of the flowchart process and the kind of quality checks that you are doing throughout the manufacturing process. Another stage is decision. This is a stage where a different team of players who will be provided with these applications, and their role is to review the inspection report to check for adequacy, to also review the lab reports to check that this product was tested against the right standard and it met the requirements of that standard. At this point, this decision-making committee will proceed to either recommend for issuance of a permit or not issuance of a permit. In the event they have a contrary opinion, this information will be communicated back to you as the applicant through the officer, stating the gaps that the committee had seen that need to be closed out. And once they are done, then it is resubmitted to the decision-making committee for review. We also have a surveillance activity, which is done post permit issuance. Once the permit is issued, it means that you are in our product certification scheme, and at any given time, you can be subjected to either factory or market surveillance. This simply means an officer can walk to your premises and conduct a subsequent inspection of your premises to check whether you are still complying with our requirements for a manufacturing site, or at the market, where they will draw samples from the market and bring them to our labs for analysis. At the factory, during surveillance, the officer can still draw samples to bring to our labs to confirm that you are still manufacturing products of the acceptable quality. So this scheme of supervision is a document that is prepared by the Kenya Bureau of Standards, and it's a contract between KEBS and the applicant. It's legally enforceable and lists out the responsibilities of both parties, that is KEBS and the manufacturer. And basically it gives you the do's and don'ts and what to do in the event that you want to expand your scope or you want to reduce your scope of products for certification, and also helps you remind yourself of what you committed to do in terms of quality checks monitoring throughout the certification period. So a copy will be with the Bureau and a copy will be with the manufacturer. So this is the online portal where our manufacturers are doing their registration application for product certification. And through this portal, you're able to actually monitor the progress of your application. You will be able to see at which stage your application is being processed. If there's anything that requires input from yourself, the application will also notify you of what you need to submit. So what do we mean by inspection? Inspection by our KEBS officers entails review of the raw materials that you declared are used in the manufacture of your product, manufacturing process, that is, how are you transforming the raw material into a final product? The machinery and plant, we're talking about what equipment, what utensils are you using to transform the raw materials into a final product. And lastly, the final product. We want to see how are you packaging this product, how are you safeguarding it from contamination, how are you labeling it so that when the consumer accesses it, they are able to make an informed decision. So like I said, raw material is one of the aspects we look at. So the quality of raw materials determines the quality of your final product. There is something that a number of people say, junk in, junk out. So when you are evaluating the raw materials you wish to source so as to make your product, you need to be keen in ensuring that what you bring into your premises is going to give you a good product. So when we're talking about raw materials control, we're talking about ensuring that as you receive the raw materials, they are meeting your acceptance criteria. You need to have determined what criteria should I review these raw materials before I receive them. Should I also look at aspects to do with integrity of the packaging materials of the raw materials? This ensures that there's no contamination that has happened in your raw material, and you will be good to go in terms of manufacturing. Another aspect is ensure that the raw materials, if packaged, they contain details to do with batch information and contents of the material. This allows you to make an informed decision and to be aware of what you're actually inputting into your manufacturing process, so that in the event of a consumer query, you're able to confidently give a response. When receiving raw materials, we expect that you may come across consignments that are defective and not meeting your criteria. So we need you to separate these raw materials so that they don't end up in your manufacturing process. Storage conditions for raw materials should be appropriate for each raw material. Some require dry storage, some require away from light, some require cold storage. So you need to be keen on the instructions storage of raw materials, as this may lead to chemical transformation of the raw material before you even proceed to transform it into a final product. Again, record keeping is key for raw materials at this stage, so that you're able to be accountable for the source of your raw materials and even the shelf life of your raw materials, to ensure that you don't have expiries within your premises before you end up losing a huge amount of money. At in-process stage, this is where we are talking of conversion of raw materials to a finished product. And at this stage, we expect the manufacturer should have acquired suitable equipment to help in the transformation of this product. You should have your own recipe, your formulations, so that you know what are the ratios to use during transformation, and also have your manufacturing operations documented so that whoever who will be doing production at any given day knows the manufacturing steps. At what point do we add ingredient A, ingredient B? At what point do we mix? At what point do we hold or keep at a certain temperature so that we don't affect the final output? At this point, we also expect that there are quality checks you will do for this in-process stage where you've already done your mixing or your baking or your cooking. And now before you proceed to package it, you are actually confirming, is this product meeting the expectations that I have of it, so that I can confidently package it and release it to the market for the consumers. Cleaning and, if necessary, sanitizing of equipment is also a key aspect in process. Remember, your contact equipment during manufacture can be a source of contamination. So you need to document, how do I clean this equipment to ensure that I do not cross-contaminate my batches. Appropriate storage conditions for intermediary products, that is the in-process. We have clients who, once they manufacture, they want to keep it in bulk before they proceed to packing into retail packs. So you need to determine what kind of storage you will be applying to ensure that the quality and safety of this product is not affected as you wait to transfer it into the retail packs. During the in-process stage, you also will come across defects, products that don't meet your expectations, and so should not proceed to the next stage of packaging. These records should be kept, and you should also determine how to handle these defects so that they don't end up in the market with the consumers or are found in dust bins and they're still consumed and cause harm to the population. At this stage, you're still required to keep relevant records so that you are accountable for all batches that have been made in your site. At end process stage, this is where we have a final product and you have established it has met requirements. And what to note is that as you set your criteria for acceptance, it must be relevant and similar to what the national standard states. For example, if you're making cakes, then as you set your moisture acceptance limits, microbial limits, they should not be lenient in terms of less expectations as per the standard. They should always be set so that you are always meeting the requirements of the specific standard of that product. Again, storage of the final product is key to ensure that the shelf life you have declared is going to be achieved even as it awaits dispatch to the retail markets, and to avoid any chemical transformation of the product before it reaches the consumer. Records shall also be maintained at this stage. This allows you to be accountable for the batches that you produced and the packages that you eventually released into the market, so that in the event you are being put to task to demonstrate how you manufactured a certain batch and how it was distributed, these records are easily retrievable. So these are some of the end products that come out of our processes. Another aspect that is key in product certification is traceability. This simply means ability to follow the movement of a product through specified stages of production, processing, and distribution. So traceability can only be demonstrated through records. Your records will be able to speak to anyone who evaluates your process, indicating when a batch was manufactured, what were the raw materials used, where were the raw materials sourced, what were the expiry dates. So this is what simply means by traceability. It is critical for operationalization of standards and regulations through increasing transparency. If you have a challenge in one of your batches, Your traceability system should be foolproof so that you're able to withdraw the affected batch from the market so that your consumers don't end up being harmed or lose confidence in your products. So remember when I said when you have an affected batch that already left the market, we call them non-conforming products, and you need to establish a product recall mechanism. What is a product recall mechanism? This is a mechanism that allows you to withdraw an affected batch from the market through effective communication channels with your distributor lines, and also determining the persons or the teams that will be responsible for overseeing the bringing back of the affected batch into your premises. And lastly, to also determine the measures to be taken with regard to the affected batch, how to dispose it, which are the regulatory authorities you need to notify. And the final aspect is it will help you also determine the corrective action so that you do not end up with the same recurrence. You sit down as a team, the production team, the quality control team, to determine where did we go wrong with this batch and what should we do to prevent this from ever happening again. Calibration of equipment is key for any manufacturer. We have a number of equipment in our manufacturing industries that help us to monitor our products. For example, we have weighing scales that help us to weigh the raw materials. This is key. If the formulation of your products is not done well, then you might end up with a defective product. We also have measuring equipment that helps us to monitor the quality of our products at in-process stage and final. We have moisture meters, we have pH meters, we have calipers, and all these play a very important role in determining whether we proceed to the next stage of releasing the product to the market or not. So their calibration is to ensure that the measurements they are giving you are accurate and not faulty. Labeling is an aspect that is provided as a Bill of Rights under the Constitution. In Article 46B on the consumer's right, it states that consumers have the right to information necessary for them to gain full benefit from goods and services. So this simply means that labeling is your platform for communicating to the consumers. So whatever information you provide on your label should be sufficient to allow the consumer to make an informed decision on whether to buy your product or opt for another one. So on the product labeling, we have a number of standards. These are just two examples. We have KS-EAS 38, which is labeling for prepackaged foods. And we have KS-EAS 346, which is labeling of cosmetic products. So these are just some of the labeling standards we have. So KS-EAS 38 will cover food and drinks. And basically, these are the items that need to be declared on your label so that the consumer is able to understand what it is you are selling to them. KS-EAS 346, which is for cosmetic products, also has a list of items that need to be declared on the label to allow the consumer to make an informed decision. So this is a continuation for KS-EAS 346, labeling of cosmetic products. So under product certification, we charge product certification fees, and it is based on 3 categories. We have large farms, we have medium farms, and we have small farms. So this is determined by your turnover, annual turnover. For those who have a turnover of less than 200,000, they are subjected to a product certification fee of Kenya shillings 10,000. And this is covering a maximum of 3 products. When you add VAT, it will come to 11,600. And remember, this fee is covering 2 years. So you'll get a permit for 2 years. The next level is for companies who have a turnover between 200,000 and 500,000. And the product certification fee is 20,000 Kenya shillings for a maximum of 3 products. And if you have additional products, then you'll be required to make additional payments. Lastly, we have the large firms whose annual turnover is greater than 500,000. And we have inspection fee for them, which is 20,000 per year. And then product certification fee, that is for each product per brand, it is 15,000. That is for 2 years. So remember, we issue permits per product, per brand, per production site. So that means if you have 2 production sites and you are making the same products, you will be subject to certification fee for the 2 sites separately. Because this is a different site, we understand they have different personnel who are manning the process controls, and the equipment are not the same, even if they're of the same model. But remember, we are now looking at key aspects of how you handle hygiene, cleaning of the equipment before you make the product and after you make the product. So there are various ways of verifying our KEBS standardization mark permit numbers. If you go to our website, we have an aspect for standardization mark where you are able to click verify and you type in the permit number for the commodity you wish to interrogate further, and you will get details in terms of when it was issued and when it expires and for which commodity it was certified to. We also have KEBS official app. Through your Play Store, you can download our app, and you'll be able to also type in the permit number, SM hash permit number, and you'll also get the same information regarding the commodity in question. We also have an appeal process for any client who applies for product certification to Kenya Bureau of Standards, whereby if you're not pleased with the outcome of the inspection conducted by our officers in terms of conduct, then you are free to appeal, and we have different levels. We also have appeals at different stages. For example, when the committee has declined to issue you with a permit, you can also appeal. And these are the different levels we have. We have the head of the department or the regional manager. For example, those who are being handled by our regional offices across Kenya. We have Eldoret, Mombasa, Kisumu, Nyeri, Nakuru, Garissa. So you can appeal through the regional manager of that region if you have an application through those specific regions. We also have another level. If you're not pleased with the feedback from the regional manager or the head of department, the next level of appeal is our director, whom you can address your challenges and issues with regard to our product certification process. The next level, if you're not pleased with the outcome from the director, is our managing director, whom you can communicate to and inform them of your unsatisfactory feedback from different levels, and the MD will be able to address your appeal. If you're still not pleased with the MD's feedback to you, our last level of appeal is the Standards Tribunal, which serves as an oversight of our activities. And at this level, your complaint can still be reviewed for further interrogation. Thank you for your time. That is the end of my presentation.
Well done, Mildred. And I love your eloquence. Thank you so much. Part of what Mildred has just shared is, I think, the very meat of why standardization is there and how to go about it. I remember one of the journeys we were working with KEBS one time. We went to an enterprise who was doing a food item. This food item required that it needs to be dried and crushed. So the processing room had to be made clean. And you and I know that soap makes surfaces clean. So our manufacturer, the SME, was using Jik, which indeed was making the room very clean, without knowing that she was, at the end of the day, contaminating the product at the end of the day. So on one side, she imagines she's doing the right job, cleaning in terms of killing the germs. But because she's making a food item, a consumable item, then the jik is not for consumption. It cannot go into people's body. So therefore, it was important that she partakes of the certification audit, which now verifies that her product is good. So it was important then that she be informed of how best to clean the room without using jik. Hence, the very important importance of each site being checked, because you can be cleaning different sites in different ways. The processes are different. The people are different. Well done so much, Mildred. Now we go to the last bit, which is on standardization levy. And I want to welcome Peter Walsh to take it over. Peter, if you can hear me.
Mr. Wanjala?
Yes.
Unfortunately, Peter seems to have had an emergency. We have been unable to get him since morning.
Okay.
But I would like to just give a brief on standards levy on his behalf. I may not be the competent person, but I'd like to just give a brief on standards levy. It is a mandatory monthly fee that manufacturers pay to Kenya Bureau of Standards, calculated as 0.2% of the manufacturer's monthly turnover or customs value, excluding VAT, excise duty, and discounts. This standards levy was introduced in 1990 and is subject to annual limits, which were reviewed in 2025. And details of that, I think, are best shared by the Standards Levy Department. I will ask them to share with me slides so that I can send them to you, so that the participants will be able to get more details regarding Standards Levy. What I also know is manufacturers usually are required to pay the levy by the 20th of the following month after it accrues, failure to which there are usually penalties. So if a client opts to do a one-off payment for the standards levy, that is also very welcome, and they'll do it directly to the bank. And at this point, I think I'll stop at that. I wish not to mislead the members. Thank you, Mr. Wanjala.
So, thank you, Mildred, for the attempt. And I know part of what our potential exporters or current exporters who are in this forum are very particular on is a slide you've just covered on the costs for certification. And I can see somebody has asked, that is, Claudine has asked for that slide. I want to assure everybody here that we shall be sharing a link to the entire of this session. So feel free to stop when you get the link, because it allows you to go to the beginning, to the end, whatever, and just get the specific information you are keen on. So thank you so much, Mildred, for standing in or sitting in for Peter. And that brings us to the end of the formal session and presentations. I know there are a bit of few things here and there we need to catch up, but let me open up the Q&A session, which some of them, I think we've answered one. Somebody here is asking, let me get it clearly. We have to pay 10,000, 40,000 determined by capacity, then the monthly caps levy that somebody is asking. Mildred is answering to that. So again, if the question is put on the Q&A, we answer each one of them as they come. So, and the feature also helps us not to miss out any. So kindly put them there and we continue to answer. One of us asked about the contact for KEPROBA, and we are quite a number of us in this forum from KEPROBA. Therefore, I want to request that you use the contacts we have shared. We shall pick that up there is a contact for physical visit that we are on both first floor and 16th floor. So you can walk in anytime. But more importantly, the department that handles inquiry or this training is one that is headed by Charles Tumbo, who is with me in this session, and I head that directorate. So we sit on first floor at Advisory Towers. Come in and ask any questions, ask for any indulgence, and this service is absolutely free. You can also call using the numbers I've already shared, and we shall attend to you free of charge. There's an email very specific to inquiries. I've also shared under useful contacts. Feel free to drop us an email. I think there are two of you who wanted to know how you can reach us. You can, the email that we have shared called inquiries@brand.ke, that will reach us and we can be able to specifically answer a question that relates to your area. We have also gotten the contacts for our partner KEBS. So feel free to drop them an email or call, because we have given both the physical address and telephone and also the email address, and also for the regional offices. So if you are in the South Rift, there is an email address we have shared there, and there's a general email address we have also shared. You can reach KEBS for clarity. If in a particular way you wanted to reach Mildred or any person in KEBS and you're not able, feel free to reach us through that inquiries and we shall be able to channel your request to them. So as we come to the end, I want to draw your attention to the evaluation, that we want to know what you feel about this session. Did it add value to you? Are there areas of improvement? There is a link that has been shared. Kindly fill that so that it helps us to get to know any areas of improvement. Number two is that we, as I mentioned earlier, we conduct these ERAs from time to time. We may want to get from where you sit any specific areas of interest so that we can schedule more of such trainings in the near future. So feel free to drop either in this chat or on email the inquiries at brand.ke, any areas of interest that you wish to be trained on, and we can make that training possible. We just want to get the numbers so that then we can get to you. If we can't get the numbers, maybe it is more of business counseling. And business counseling, for clarity's sake, it's an open session where you sit with one of our officers and you throw in the questions that you have. Then the questions are answered to the detail. So feel free to do that for us so that we can walk the journey together. Those of you who are typing on the chat, thank you so much for your feedback. Yes, Claudine, I think I've answered you on the last slide. We shall be sharing this, so you can scroll in on wherever you want and get the details. Claudine, again, you say thank you. Asante sana. Fiona, tumeona tunasema asante. Daniel, this session was good for me. Awesome, we appreciate. There was a question on whether there are standards that are met by different countries and not others. For example, that is there a standard that can be met, or it's a requirement in one country, and yet the product can be sold in Kenya or in another country. I said, largely standards are the minimum requirement. However, different countries might impose several controls, because you all appreciate that each country wants to take care of its economy. So, for example, if somebody is exporting a product to Kenya, you'll be told Kenya does not condone plastic of a certain grammage. If you're exporting the same product to Uganda, then you don't need that kind of restriction. But if you're exporting to Kenya, then you will be subjected to such specific requirement. So the answer to the question, therefore, is that yes, there are countries that could have stringent requirements, and that is why you'll get, other than the minimum requirements, you'll also need to appreciate the market requirements for specific products going to specific markets. You all appreciate what is so-called AGOA. That was an agreement between US and various African countries. And for you to use that agreement, you'll be given a document that shows that your products have originated from Kenya and they are under the quota. So you have the preference of Kenyan products or African products going into the US because of that agreement. You cannot use that agreement outside of US. So basically all these are bilateral agreements or multilateral agreements that can give preferential entry into different markets. A question from John Maringa is asking, do we have standards and certifications for leather as a raw material? Mildred, if you're still there, you want to try and answer that?
Yes, we do have standards for leather as a raw material. We refer to KS ISO 5431 and 5433. So we do have standards for wet blue hides and wet blue goat skin and wet blue sheep skin.
Awesome. Yeah, there we go. Because the products we get from leather are so different. If you're getting some high-end shippy or high-end jackets, you don't want to have them with some perforations because of ticks that have come through our animals or any other parasites that have messed our skin. And that is why part of the reason why we need standardization to have goods that are leather or leather articles to meet certain requirements, so that you are assured that indeed the standard is well met. Good. Looks like we have answered all the questions. Let me see whether there is some more chat here. We respond to that and we close the session. There is, as I mentioned, there's a survey that is, we are doing an evaluation. So kindly just let us know so that we can improve. John Maringa, yes, we read that. Then Claudia is asking, if my products are in ESC certified, can I export to Central and West African countries? I want to ask Charles to attend to this question. Charles, if you can hear me, the question is, if my products are ESC certified, I like the way you have said it, because ESC is a customs union, very, very specific. So can I export to Central and West African countries? Charles, you can hear me?
Thank you very much. Yes, when we are operating under the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, we are talking about harmonizing standards, harmonizing procedures in Africa so that we can export throughout the countries, even up to the Central. And when you export into those countries, there's also some documentations which you are required, the certificates of origin. Now we have the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Certificate of Origin, which can be issued. As for the specific standards, yes, we are with Kenya Bureau of Standards. They can give you more details, but I believe that ours are the highest standards, because if we can export definitely in the EAC region. Now, these other regions are, of course, now the Central Africa, the North Africa, South Africa, and of course, they will be able to comply and enter into those markets. Yes, we've had trade fairs in those countries. Kenyans have showcased their products and they have been accepted, and also we are exporting to those countries. Thank you very much. Not unless Mildred, you'd like to add anything else. And as for the question of leather, we are really encouraging value addition of leather so that we manufacture leather products here and export them from Kenya. So actually, we restrict the export of raw leather so that to give the opportunity of production here. It's very important to work closely with the Kenya Leather Council. Please visit their website. Please work with them. Please, they also have, if you visit their website, you'll see them. They've listed SMEs and medium enterprises with finished leather products, and they're assisting that in a lot of market linkage. So let us embrace on value addition. In the presentation of KEBS, you heard that they also assist in value addition and innovation. So thank you very much. Maybe a clarification from Mildred about the other countries. Thank you.
I think, Charles, you have answered very well. Currently, through ARSO, which is an Africa Regional Organization for Standardization, we are pursuing harmonization of standards across the continent. So we already have a number of already harmonized standards, which now can facilitate trade for quite a number of products. So again, if you access our website, you'll be able to check on the specific standard you wish to know and confirm whether we have an ARSO standard or an East Africa standard for use. Thank you.
Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Mildred. Some more feedback here from Timothy, even as we wind up. He's saying your team, that is the Keproba team, is in Japan currently and they are doing well. He's just returned from an international coffee exhibition, and more synergy between various governments and agencies is required as one stop. Oh yes, thank you. Timothy, maybe one of the takeaway or challenge that I pose to all of us who are in this forum is we need to just be aggressive in what we are doing. Let us open up more doors so that we grow. Our country will grow if we increase our exports, if we increase our production. Hence, the essence of us going out there, us meaning Keproba representing the government of Kenya, to open up opportunities in other countries like Japan that Timothy has asked. So be free to contact us to know how you can penetrate the international market. If you're experiencing any hiccup in any particular market, feel free to contact us, because we are also in touch with the various government or arms of government, including embassies in various markets. So we should be able to help you unearth or address issues that are of concern. For example, in Japan, that Juana Timothy is talking about, we have been in the biggest of trade fairs that ever happened in the world, and it's called an exposition. They ran for 6 months. So we have had several products on the ground in Osaka, Japan since the 13th of April, and the event ends on the 13th of next month. So far, we have had so much interest for people who are interested in various products, and we've been able to do market linkage. That even as we speak right now, the inquiries that are coming from that pavilion in Osaka, we are able to respond and connect Kenyans who are on this side. But we need to know that you, as an exporter, you have your product certified. You have met the requirements, because then you cannot be linked with a potential buyer if your products are not certified or they don't meet the export requirements. So in case, because we have not appreciated each one of you at whatever level you are, feel free to contact us, feel free to engage both the Kenya Export Promotion and Branding Agency and KEBS so that we can walk this journey. Otherwise, we appreciate so much for your presence. Charles is reminding me that we had last week, we hit the 2 million visitor into our pavilion. And out of that, we have had quite so many contacts, which we have linked with the various exporters from Kenya. So it's a journey that we must all be walking, not even talking about it, walking. And hence, once again, the importance for us to just engage and get things done. So without much ado, I want to appreciate all of you for coming. I want to appreciate our partners, KEBS, headed by Dr. Geoffrey. And here we have had Benson and Mildred, who have done a beautiful, beautiful job. We appreciate so much the importance of product certification in the export journey. I want to also celebrate you, the participants, whether you are a potential exporter or you're already exporting. We appreciate you for finding time. We have been together for just less than 2 hours in this session. So we appreciate you for finding time, as we have said and have shared the contacts. You check with us, check with KEBS, so that we can attend to your very specific need, so that we can grow. If you can grow, then our country grows. Our country is dependent on each person's effort, so that whatever you do together, it gets the house standing. Finally, let me appreciate my colleagues from Keproba, starting with Madam Celestine, who was sitting in for the CEO. My colleagues here, Charles Tumbo, who is heading the department that is in charge of capacity building, together with Lydia, Henry, Morgan, and indeed the technical team that is coming from the communications department. Thank you so much, Charles and Gertrude, for putting this together. I have been your moderator, Ruben Wenjala. I'm the director in charge of Resource Center, a directorate under which Trade Advisory sits, and also ICT. Basically, We are in charge of information that is to help you as an exporter. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being with us. And we should close there with a word of prayer. Shall we pray? In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Father, we thank you for this session. We started with calling upon your name, and now we've ended it. We've ended it well. We thank you for each one of us. Now, as we go to our various chores, we ask for your blessings and guidance. Make this short prayer through Christ our Lord. Amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Thank you so much, and God bless each one of you.
Thank you. Bye.